evidence, the next layer, is something that we started over a year ago with. And behind the scene, during a demo, we actually collected pieces of information about the process. We collected it, we signed it, and we attached it to the relevant artifacts. Now, this is what we called evidence. So as I mentioned, we started over a year ago, and when we, from within the JFrog platform, created the crucial kinds of evidence, such as promotion, security scan results, SBOMs with the content of the release. But this was only the beginning. And shortly after, we also opened the door of the platform to allow you and tools and different tools to add any kind of evidence and attach it to any kind of artifact inside our platform. So that's already out there with the JFrog APIs. But another realization that we had is that one of the most crucial evidence is actually where it came from, the origin of the release, the origin of the binaries. And the most important out of them is the build provenance. So we asked ourselves, what would be better than taking this evidence, the build provenance, and making sure that it is inside the JFrog platform, attached to the artifact, moves with it, with all of these stages. So today, I'm happy to say that we took this challenge, and we are deepening our integration with our great partner, GitHub, and with their attestation feature. And for that, allow me to invite on stage Tina Heidinger, a senior product manager at GitHub.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tina. I work on supply chain security products at GitHub. Thanks, Yossi. And let me start with what we hear from customers a lot, and that is we need to be able to govern and prove the integrity and the compliance of our software, which sounds very simple, but like we all know it's not. I mean, except we have someone in the audience who have solved this really well, then please come find me afterwards because I'd be interested in learning more about that. And you know, it's no longer enough to just trust implicitly that your binaries and your applications are secure and compliant. There needs to be this sort of unfalsifiable and verifiable proof that what you ship to production is exactly what you intended to build. So, you know, it was natural for JFrog and GitHub to come together and see how we can solve attestation and evidence collection from the source all the way to the deployable artifact in a more like holistic fashion here. Right, so, but before I get to talk more about what we're shipping today and announcing that, let me just take a step back and talk more about what attestations are, like why I care so much about them and what GitHub can do to help with that. So an attestation is a cryptographic proof. Just think of it as a signed statement that or a signed and verifiable claim that is being made about any artifact. One such statement can be a provenance attestation. That's what binds the artifact back to its exact build definitions in the workflow and the exact source. But a provenance statement is just like one type of such a fact that you can attest to an artifact. You can also attest other type of statements, like, for example, this artifact passed a vulnerability scan, or this artifact has like the stamp from my QA team that this has passed all the requirements to be approved for production. And this goes beyond just like signing a file and having the signatures available. This is really about creating this like chain of custody so that any artifact that has been built and signed can then later be verified in an independent fashion against a defined set of policies that you set up in your organization. And where this becomes powerful is because this is exactly when trust in your software is no longer implicit. You don't just assume that things are, you know, that what you're shipping is what you build, but you have a cryptographic proof you have that available. And this comes into the game when you want to require, when you aim for like reaching the higher levels of SLSA build, of SLSA of the salsa levels, or you have a SOC 2 audit coming up, or maybe you simply want to enforce at the deployment time that only approved code changes actually reach your production environments. This is all about proving the integrity of your software at deployment time. And the good thing with GitHub here is that we built this natively into GitHub Actions. So when you want to get started with attesting your artifacts, you don't need to, using GitHub Actions, you don't have to manage any cryptographic key material or, operate the signing infrastructure yourself. You can just rely on what we built there in the background. What we did is we operate an internal instance of Sigstore. Sigstore is an open source project designed to make artifact signing very simple and scalable. And by doing that, we abstract all the complexity of software signing away from our users, meaning that you don't need to hassle around with certificate issuance, with the signing itself, with key rotation when that becomes necessary, with all the auditability. That is all being taken care of in the background. All you need to do is to add just a few lines of YAML to the build instructions in GitHub Actions, and you're all set. You have your artifact signed. We support a bunch of different types of statements. There's provenance. You can also attest SBOMs, anything custom that is applicable to your organization. That's all covered. All right, and this is how these attestations become actionable and this is how they become actionable in your end-to-end supply chain. Because starting today, artifact attestations created on GitHub can be natively ingested into JFrog evidence, so that any artifact that you promote across the different stages in JFrog, all the artifacts can be promoted or gated or blocked based on cryptographic evidence that has been created within GitHub. And you can use this to enforce things like requiring salsa level 3 build provenance, or a past vulnerability scan, QA sign-off, or in fact any custom type of policy you would like to first attest and then enforce later in your production environments. And this is all, as I mentioned, with no manual config. This is a native integration between JFrog and GitHub. That you just turn on, and then the attestations are consumed into JFrog evidence. This allows you to see the full life cycle of your artifacts end to end, from the source all the way to the deployable artifact within JFrog evidence, so you can enforce the exact policies that you need in your promotion steps. All right, so if you want to know more about that, we'll run a dedicated session, a breakout session later today at 2:30. We're going to walk through how exactly it works and also show a live demo of that. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you there. Thanks, Yossi.
All right. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Tina. Looking forward to continue and deepening our collaboration together. And good luck in your session. All right, so we have native evidence from within the JFrog platform. We have a flagship integration with GitHub. We have an open API that allows you to push whatever evidence you like to the JFrog platform. And this is already very, very powerful. But we also wanted to deliver more value right out of the box, to make it as easy as possible and as seamless as possible for you to integrate your existing tools and send the required evidence to the JFrog platform. And this seamless integration starts today. So I'm also thrilled to announce that we are also partnering with additional vendors. This is the first wave of leading technology vendors and tools across the industry that we are collaborating with, partnering with, integrating with, and allowing you to easily and seamlessly create evidence and ship it to the JFrog platform. So this unlocks new powerful capabilities with, for instance, creating or capturing the Jira tickets that triggered a build in production, taking the code quality scanning and QA results, pushing them and attaching them to the artifact, capturing manual approvals or release manager approval inside the platform. And this is just the first wave of collaboration, and we will continue to extend it with our partners. Now, before I end, let me take you back to a very quick demo, just to show you how an evidence look like. Okay, so I'm back to the Kanban board. You can see the version that we just worked on. And I'm going to go here directly to what we call the content graph or the evidence graph. You can see here the sample application that we've been working with. Okay, it's the application release itself. And a Docker image, some of the evidence is attached directly to the image, some of it to the release. It really depends, and you can control it. So now let me show you two sample evidence that we took as part of the partnership. So we heard earlier today about the partnership with Sonar. This is part of it. The ability to take an evidence from Sonar. So if I click on it, you can see here quality gate results directly inside our platform. So that's the evidence. That's the header of the evidence. It's actually a JSON, a signed JSON file. But the nice thing that we also did is that it's not also usable for automatic verification by different systems. It's also usable and readable for human beings. So you can attach a markdown to it, to any evidence that is coming from outside, and you can easily browse and understand what it means, what this evidence is, and it's, again, customizable for any kind of vendor. So that's one kind. We also mentioned the build provenance, so you can see here the GitHub attestation, GitHub evidence directly inside the JFrog platform with all the relevant data about this attestation. So that's evidence. And now to show you what's the real power behind evidence, Eyal is going to speak with you about the lifecycle.
Great, thank you, Yossi. So yeah, let's move on to the next building block, and that is lifecycle policies. So we talked about evidence and the evolution. I'm super excited about our collaboration with GitHub and Sonar and more partners. But the fact that when we look at lifecycle governance and policies, we care about being able to control different lifecycle policies across different lifecycle stages of the LCC, whether it's when developing the code, when packaging the application, and all the way before we push it to production. So we have built a new unified policy engine that's integrated into the platform that is powered by OPA and supports policy as code, and allows you to set up policies across all gates of the platform based on your needs for security use cases, for compliance use cases, quality, and other use cases based on our external evidence and evidence based from the JFrog platform. So we build this new engine, again, based on evidence. Everything is based on evidence, whether it's internal evidence by our solutions or external evidence with our partnership program. We support it from code and all the way to production with control gates that are natively integrated into the platform itself, and it's natively integrated across the entire platform with all the different security tooling that JFrog provides to our customers. Now I want to show you a quick demo of how easy it is and how wide the use cases can be using this new unified policy engine. So let's go back to my laptop and show you a quick demo of this. So the demo we showed you in our, at the beginning of our session was around mandatory testing before going into production. So what you see here are these lifecycle stages, and by the way, these are completely configurable by you based on your needs of your environments, and each of those stages have an entry gate and an exit gate. So in the case of this production environment, we have a policy here that prevents untested versions to come out or versions with critical CVEs, and that's great, and that's something we want to do right before we go into production. But say I want a different use case where a new critical CV gets discovered or gets detected, and I want to alert the developers as early as possible. I don't want to prevent them from doing their job, but I want to give them a notification as quick as possible. So what I can do is I can go into the entry gate of QA, and I'll create a new policy. I have a glitch. Let's do QA entry gate. And I can set up a rule that looks at critical CVs. And in this case, I don't want this policy to fail that action, that promotion action. I want it to generate a warning. So I'll just click that, and I'll give this policy a name. Let's call this warn critical CV. Let me hit create policy, and now I have this policy. So if I go back to Pizza Shop, lifecycle, I now have a policy here in QA that's going to trigger a warning to developers. Now, ahead of time, we have this new version here, 4.2.1, which is a version in development that I want to, now as a developer, I want to promote it to QA. And I don't trust AI agents like Yossi does, so I'm going to do this manually. I'm just going to drag and drop this, quickly promote this into QA, because I just want to move forward with the lifecycle. So the promotion is in process. And what you can see here that the promotion action was successful. The version moved to QA, but there's a warning here. And the warning is that promotion from dev to QA generated a violation because of a critical CV that was detected in this specific version. Now I can deep dive into this and I can look into the specific CV details. And of course, the developer gets a notification about this, whether it's email or webhook integration, and multiple kinds of triggers back to the developers so they know and they are aware that this happened, but this is not preventing them from moving forward with the work if they choose to. So now that I've done this and that's fine, I can move this to staging, I can promote this. In this case, I don't have any policies on staging, it's fine. But then if I want to move this to release, let's see if this works. I don't think it will, but yeah, it failed. So the version stays in staging, and it fails because the critical CV is there, and the unified policy engine is preventing that tainted version from going out into production, and is providing the proper guardrails for the developers, the managers, and all the personas within the organization. So this was a quick demo of our unified policy engine, which we are looking forward for you to try out and give us feedback on as you start using the product. Let's go back to our slides. To Yossi, I think you have one more thing you want to share.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Eyal. So one more thing. We've seen the power of Uptrust. I think you all saw it. We explained a little bit about the different pillars. But there was also one thing that was very clear for us. All of this cannot be a closed garden. Okay? It cannot be disconnected or isolated from the other systems that already you use to run or manage your applications or other business processes. And as Shlomi mentioned, when we initially introduced Uptrust to our customers in Leap event, the feedback was loud and clear. This is great, but we need you to make sure that you connected to the system that we are already manage our applications. And there was one platform that was mentioned above any other, no surprise, so you heard about it before, and it was ServiceNow. So we partnered with ServiceNow, and we are working on bridging the gap between the two worlds. And to now actually see what it means to you, allow me to invite Dan McCall, VP of Product at ServiceNow.
All right, hello. My name's Dan McCall. I run product for ITSM, and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you, Yossi, for the warm welcome. It's been so great to see so many of our joint customers in the crowd today, meeting you all. So, in this age of fast-moving software releases, there's tension between development teams and operations teams, and that tension is sharper than ever. Developers, they want to move fast. They want to ship innovation. They want to get it out to those end users. While operations teams are tasked with keeping things stable, keeping them resilient, and meeting their SLAs. And this tension is really, development teams often see this tension as red tape in their operations teams, especially around the change process itself. The truth is, operations teams are small, and they often lack the automation and visibility that they need to handle the flood of changes that are coming in to them. And the result is that these processes might feel slow or frustrating. Mm-hmm. But what if there were a way that we could do both? Yeah. What if there was a way where the development teams could move as fast as they're wanting, and we could give those change and operations teams the confidence to release this software to those end users? Well, the good news, now there is, okay? And I'm excited to introduce a new strategic integration between JFrog, your system of truth for all your binaries, and ServiceNow, your intelligent automation platform that puts AI to work. And together, we're bridging the gap between development and operations. And we've made this integration simple but powerful. And what it does is it takes all that evidence that is inside JFrog App Trust that you were just hearing about, and it brings it directly into ServiceNow. Once it's in ServiceNow, you also get that 360-degree view of all of your services in your business applications, which helps you understand your service topography, how these things relate to one another, the business criticality of them, and even recent outages and things of that nature. So this is great that we're bringing these into one area, because when you have it all together, then when something bad does happen, you have a history of what change might have created that problem. And when things are working smoothly, you also have that same data can be used to help with automated approvals. And so really, we're bringing these two platforms together in an amazing way because we know so many of you want to use both in concert with one another. But don't take my word for it. Let's see it in action.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so if we can pull up the screens. So we're starting out in your favorite tool, ServiceNow. And here we have the Napa Burger application. You can tell there's a bit of a food theme going on at this event. And this business application, if I scroll down here, you can see the Napa Burger application offers the best of bread burgers for the entire Napa area. That was a pun, by the way. All right, so this is an important application, but it only exists inside ServiceNow. So what we need to do is we need to set up our JFrog integration so that we can create the synergy between our two platforms. So to do that, I'm going to go over here, and I'm in my DevOps change workspace, which is where I go to connect everything together. I'm going to connect a platform, I go here, and then I can see JFrog, which is great. So I'm going to flip over and actually do this live. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to choose Burger Shop. I'm going to choose swampUP, where we all are, and I'm going to put in my product key here, if I can spell, and I'm going to hit save. And let's see it magically work. Aha! The sync is completed. Incredible. Yossi, over to you.
Okay, so the next thing that we are going to see, so that's the new project. As you can see, there's no application over there, so let me just refresh it. And we can see now that we have the Burger Shop. And if I click on it, we'll see the information that was synchronized directly from ServiceNow. So we have the description, the business criticality, and also link back with the service ID number. So that's the simple synchronization. We did it manually. And of course, as we move along, you'll be able to connect all of your applications to the JFrog platform. Okay, so now let me just create a simple version and see how we can progress along the life cycle with the help of ServiceNow management. So
great.
Let me just create a version real quick. I have a script here. All right, if we go to the life cycle, I created a version, okay, version 1. I click on it, and if we look at the content, it's one Docker image that we have, and we have two kind of evidence attached to it. Okay? Now, let's go back to the lifecycle. And again, I'm going to do it manually for now. We have a simple lifecycle that we created for this demo. And there's one thing that is special over here. I'll speak about it in a minute. Sorry. So let me first promote it. and it's got promoted. Now, this specific stage in the lifecycle is connected to ServiceNow. And what happened is that the minute we moved the version to this stage, we send a message that creates a new change request inside the ServiceNow platform. Now, we have here a gate inside the lifecycle that says that we cannot go to production unless we have an approval that came from ServiceNow. So now I have to wait for this approval, and let's see if it's coming. Dan,
all right,
let's do
great.
it.
So in the majority of these cases, because we've linked these two together and because everything meets the policy, it would just automatically get approved.
Right.
But for the purposes of this demo, we're going to show you how we would do this so you can see it happening. So here we go. I'm going to refresh on my side, and voila, I see the change request that came in automatically from JFrog. And if I click on that, what it's going to do is open up this change record. Now, in this demo, I am acting as a change approver. And so I want to call out a couple of things that I'm seeing on this. So the first is this DevOps data. And you can see that we've automatically pulled in the artifact versions from JFrog directly, as well as, oh, look at this, software evidence automatically showing inside ServiceNow. In fact, it actually has links where I can just click it, automatically open JFrog, and what it's going to do is show me the evidence in JFrog.
True.
Here it comes. And there it is, automatically. So as a change approver, this gives me extra confidence that this is a change that I should approve. I can also come down here and see, beyond what we've gotten from JFrog, some information from ServiceNow that really helps me understand the landscape of this change. So I can see that this is affecting the Napa Burger, a business application that we talked about earlier. But it also has other impacted services. So this is something that only ServiceNow knows, is how this specific service relates to everything else in my environment. And I happen to know that one of these applications recently had a major incident that affected our customers, which is context that's important for me to know, which is why, thankfully, my AI agents caught this for me. In fact, if you look up here in the upper right-hand corner, it's flagged this as a high risk. It's a high risk because it knows about that related major incident. This is information that's important to me as an approver. And you can see when I invoke my AI summary, it's called that out itself. So without having to dig through all of the different fields within my screen, the AI summarization has automatically called my attention to this. Now, and this is why it's requiring a manual approval in the first place. Now, the good news here is I know that this team has a great change success score, meaning that this team is capable and has a track record of doing this well, which gives me confidence. And when I combine that with the confidence that I got from JFrog, that makes me feel like this is OK to approve. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make my approval decision. And Yossi, you're in luck. I'm going to click approve. And as I'm clicking approve, what's happening inside ServiceNow is that we're going through the different steps right here. We're signing that evidence on our side so that we can send it back over to JFrog. And then what you'll be able to see is that that approval has received, which will then process that change coming into the JFrog platform. And I did that by virtue of the integration that we had together, assisted with AI agents who are helping flag risk for me, as well as the summarization so that I don't have to think through everything. I can just read that summary.
OK, we got it.
Oh.
I think we got it approved. So what we just saw, we got an approval from ServiceNow. This time it was manually, but it can definitely be automatic. And once we got it, we automatically managed to release it to production, to reach the final stage, to get the approval that we needed. And if I also look at it, we said that there is a signed evidence coming from ServiceNow. And you can see it here on the release itself during the pending approval stage. So if I click on it, you can see the details coming from ServiceNow with the change number. I can see that it was approved, the list of approvals, and I see that Dan just approved it, additional details about it. So it just works.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's it. That concludes the last demo for this session. Okay, so Dan, thank you. That was fantastic, seamless, automatic, and very, very trustworthy.
Yes. This is the power of two applications coming together on behalf of you, our customers. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Now, we've covered a lot in this session, a lot of new things, a lot of very exciting announcement. And now, just to wrap it all, allow me to invite Eyal back on stage.
Thanks.
And thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Amazing. All right. Amazing partnership and looking forward to the next steps together between our teams. So let's recap what we just saw over our session. So first of all, we've introduced to all of you into the world AppTrust, our application risk governance solution integrated into the JFrog platform. But we also took it to the next level with the next evolution of evidence with our partnership program, deepening our partnership with our friends at GitHub, our friends at Sonar, ServiceNow, and of course, many other vendors. And of course, we wrap things up with our strategic initiative with ServiceNow, and we're super excited about that. So if you take all of this into consideration, the next time a new vulnerability comes about or a new risk gets introduced into your organization, you'll be able to manage it with trust so that everyone, regardless whether you are that executive making the call or you're that engineering manager, release manager on the other side, all of us here in this room can have a good night's sleep. I thank you very much.